Hello and welcome. I am a French style enthusiast. I live in London and I have been creating content on YouTube for the last 16 years, would you believe it? I mostly speak about how to curate a luxury wardrobe and doing it by buying luxury items on the resale market. I also am known on YouTube for French pronunciation videos. And so I thought I would combine these two things to give you the definitive guide to all things Hermès. What I do here is a mix of explaining the brand and also explaining how to pronounce the main words that the brand uses. So basically a how to speak Hermès. In the first video of this series, we went over a few technical words and where Hermès comes from. In the second video, we went over the leathers, which leather is appropriate for what bag model and how they withstand the test of time, what are their main characteristics. And in today's video, we're going to go over the colors. So it is one of the most fascinating and tightly guarded secrets in the luxury world. Hermès colors are renowned, and there are more than 250 distinct shades. So over history, the house has formulated all of these distinct colors, and they are released and also used in an unpredictable cycle. So the Hermès house maintains basically a selection of permanent classic colors, but the ones that are sought after, that are seasonal, or that are a little bit more colorful, those are rotated and they go into a hibernation cycle where they retire them for up to 10 years and then they re-release them. So to truly understand the Hermès colors, we have to look into how they're made. So they are made by hand. Every single shade is mixed in proprietary communal vats that are outside Paris, and they are known in Hermès vocabulary as the color kitchens. And this is in French, la cuisine des couleurs, la cuisine des couleurs. So the process is completely done by hand, and it is done by master dye artisans who are weighing and mixing the colors down to the milligram. So because Hermès owns the primary tanneries, they also control the chemical composition of the leathers, and so they can control exactly how the dye is going to affect the leather. As we saw in the previous videos, certain leathers absorb color a lot better than other leathers, and some leathers create a matte effect while other create a shiny effect. And so understanding very precisely how a color is going to affect a leather and making sure also that you can replicate the color consistently is a very important skill that the Hermès house, la Maison Hermès, has mastered over time. All right, let's dive in. So if you're buying your Hermès bag from a boutique, each color has a code number, which I will include in our descriptions. And the code number is what's going to appear on your invoice. For example, a taupe is code number 18, and that is going to be on your receipt. These codes are your most reliable asset because many of the Hermès colors are sort of chameleons. And so, for example, a taupe will appear gray under neon lighting, whereas it will appear more brown under natural light. And so you may not know exactly which color you're looking at. Is it a gray color? Is it a taupe? So in order to be 100% sure, it's better to use the code number and also to be able to absolutely be certain when you pay for your bag that you got the right color, right? And then you also have to take into account that the color of the bag will take a different hue depending on which hardware it is paired with. So palladium, the silver-colored hardware, is going to bring out the cold tones in a leather, whereas the gold hardware, which is plaqué or, is going to bring out the more warm tones in a color. Choosing the right hardware is also going to affect the overall look of the bag and how it pairs with the color. So this is a little bit of an intro on colors when you're buying in store. Now let's have a look at all the colors that currently exist in store and that you can choose from when you're buying new. Right, let's have a look at the pops of color that you can buy in the boutique. So you have orange ash, orange ash. Of course, the orange is also the orange that they put on their packaging, so it's instantaneously recognizable essentially as the Hermès orange. So that's why it's called orange ash, because the H stands for Hermès. Little fun fact here, this legendary color has no official Pantone equivalent, so it is an entirely proprietary formula that only belongs to Hermès. Terre battue, terre battue. So in France we don't have Wimbledon, we have the other one, which is Roland Garros, which is tennis played on clay tennis courts. So that color is based on the tennis tournament. Okay, just a couple more. So you've got tangerine, and then you've got feu, feu, which means fire. Next is rouge ash. So rouge ash, and that is rouge means red and ash is for Hermès. So that one was introduced all the way back in 1925, and it is a wine red that is anchored in heavy brown, and it was formulated to perfectly mimic the expensive deep mahogany wood stains that were popular at the high end of the Art Deco movement. You have rouge cellier, rouge cellier. Okay, in the reds, you also have rouge grenat, rouge grenat, that means garnet. Then you have rouge kazakh, rouge kazakh, and also Bordeaux, Bordeaux. Bordeaux is a type of wine and also a city in France. Then you have rose azalée, rose azalée, that's a type of flower. Magnolia, another flower, magnolia. Then you have rose Texas, a bright coral pink. Rose sakura, named of course after the Japanese cherry blossoms. It is a highly unstable dye formula, so it is only run in production batches when the weather conditions allow flawless drying. Okay, next you have rose extrême, rose extrême, and then you have hibiscus, which is a flower, hibiscus. They really have lovely yellows. Tournesol, tournesol, which means sunflower, and then cumin, cumin, and then lime. Well, that's in English, so I'm not going to say it again. Doré, so that's the, I think that one just came out. It is bright gold, basically. Then you have sun, which is not in French, so I'll just say that. Jaune Milton, jaune means yellow. The next one is vert criquet, vert criquet, and that is that means vert means green and criquet means grasshopper, so it's grasshopper green essentially, and it is a color that commands a huge premium on the secondary market. So if you find it, you should definitely get it if green is your thing. Vert peppermint, vert peppermint, vert yucca, vert yucca, vert comics, vert comics, bambou, bambou, menthe, menthe, vert vertigo. In the greens, you also have vert mangrove, vert mangrove, vert moyen, vert moyen. This one has two numbers. I don't know if you've noticed the codes that I've added to the descriptions, but when it's two numbers, that means it's one of the heritage colors that they've produced ever since the beginning. But at one point they ran out of two-digit numbers, and so they started adding letters. So the codes that have a letter in the mix that means the color is more recent. And if they only have numbers in the two-digit code, that means it's one of the perennial colors. So vert moyen clearly is one of the older colors. Then you have vert cyprès, vert cyprès, then vert l'Oden, and vert fizz. There are a plethora of blues, so I'm just going to whiz through the next list without stopping to give more details because that would take too long. But so here are some of the blues that are available in the boutique right now. So you have Céleste, Navy, Bleu Océan, which means ocean blue, Bleu Océan, Bleu Glacier, that means glacier blue, Bleu Glacier, Bleu du Nord, that means north blue, Bleu du Nord, Deep Blue, that's in English, so I won't repeat, Bleu Saphir, Bleu Saphir, Bleu Abysse, Bleu Abysse, Bleu Zanzibar, Bleu Zanzibar, Bleu Thai. I really like this one. I think it's really, really pretty. Then you have Bleu Nuit. So Bleu Nuit means night blue. Bleu Frida, Bleu Frida. Bleu de Prusse, Bleu de Prusse. Then you have Bleu Tempête, which means storm blue. Bleu Tempête. So it's a dark, moody, stormy blue-gray color. Then you have Caban. Caban is a type of it's a peat coat, I think it's called in French, in English. It's a navy jacket. So Caban. Bleu Zéphyr, that's sky blue. Bleu Zéphyr. Then you have béton. Béton is essentially a type of cement, and so that's why this color is gray. And it's designed to mimic the smooth industrial aesthetic of freshly poured architectural concrete. And so this one is highly exclusive, and it's usually reserved for special order bags. Then you have étain. Étain is a metal. Then you have gris pâle, which means pale gray, and that is a light, airy, silver white gray, which is so light that it's frequently mistaken for a white bag, but actually it is gray. And then you have gris meilleur, and then you have ardoise, which is essentially slate. It just means slate. So then the next one is gris misty, which is a slate gray, which is inspired by the morning mist over the ocean. And there you have it. Gris platine. Gris perle, that means pearl gray. Gris perle. Gris pantin. And you have silver. All right, so then we have Mauve Sylvestre. So Mauve Sylvestre is essentially a very pale purple. Mauve pâle, which means pale lilac. Then a very lovely one as well, very popular, is ébène. So ébène is a type of wood, that's what it means, and that the wood and as well as the Hermès color can appear black under certain lighting, and it's one of the favorite colors for the people who go for a quiet luxury aesthetic. Then you have alezan. I'll say it again, alezan. That's a type of horse, and so it's a rich, glowing, reddish chestnut brown, which is inspired by the equestrian world, and it was named after the horses that come out of prized European stables. We have trench. I'm going to say it the French way, which is named after trench coats. You have écorce, which means bark. Then you have fauve. That's usually the color that the Barrenia leather can only be done in. So that's an untreated natural tan. Then you have sésame. Then you have beige marfa, beige marfa, kraft, that's the color of cardboard, sable naturel, that's sand, beige de Weimar, beige de Weimar. And there are a couple other neutrals, caramel, poussière, which means dust, poussière, havane, and bronze doré, Right, let's move on to the light colors. So now we have color craie, that's pronounced craie, and what it is chalk. It means chalk. And so, unsurprisingly, because it means chalk, it is a white color, and it is one of the colors that retains its resale value the best on the secondary market. It's seen as highly sophisticated, and it features cool gray undertones. So then we have the color nata. That's not that's not French either. That is Spanish. It means cream. And that is essentially a rich ivory color, which has warm yellow undertones. And it's notoriously difficult to acquire this one in boutiques due to the extreme care that is required to dye the calf skins that color. Okay, let's keep going. So we have blanc, which is pure white. And finally, mushroom. So noir is pronounced noir, and it is the one that is most sold. So the highest volume of sales is for this color, and also it is the safest resale investment. So gold is not a French word, so I'm not going to pronounce it again, but this is what it looks like, and it is one of the only colors for which Hermès proposes the white contrast stitching. Then you have the ever popular étoupe. It is pronounced étoupe. And that one is a chameleon-like shade that will look sometimes gray, sometimes brown, and it is universally acknowledged as the most complex neutral color that Hermès creates. So it can be a really interesting one to own. So what's your favorite color? After all of this list, I would be really curious to know what your favorite combination is and what you're going to put on your wish list. I thought it would be fun to wear a little bit of a pop of color for this video because it's a video about colors. And also I wanted to point out this is my favorite Hermès scarf. An Hermès scarf is called a carré Hermès. And this one is a l'épivoine in orange, and that's my absolute favorite. So I thought I would bring it out for this video. So now let's dive into the discontinued colors, which is where all the fun is. The reason why there are discontinued colors to begin with is because Hermès applies a strategy called color hibernation, which is related to their artificial scarcity strategy. So in previous videos where I discussed whether or not you should sell your designer bags and whether or not designer was all a lie and all the influencers doing videos about this topic, in that video I mentioned how Hermès applies a strategy which consists of having artificial scarcity. So you can't just walk into a Hermès shop and buy a bag. You have to essentially build a relationship over time, which then results in you getting an opportunity to have a leather appointment where you can buy your bag. But this is all a strategy because they could produce as many bags as they need in order to sell them, but they choose not to produce that many bags so that they retain a feeling of scarcity on the market. Color hibernation is essentially a component of that strategy. Let's say, for example, that they have identified that a color is super popular and that they have produced it for many consecutive years. They will abruptly halt production of that color in the shops so that the color will go into a resting phase for anywhere between 3 to 10 years. The calculated move essentially produces the following results. People are going to want that color because it's highly popular, but they can't get it in the shop, so they're going to pivot to trying to find the bags on the resale market. But the popularity is such that after a while, the secondary market becomes starved of that particular color. So once demand reaches a fever pitch because there are none to be found on the resale market, that's when Hermès decides to unexpectedly release a batch of that particular color, which will result in a frenzy of buying in the boutique, because people will then hurry to buy that color because it's a limited run, and so they will end up going back to the boutique to buy new from Hermès because there is none to be found on the resale market. So it's very clever, and it results in a super fun merry-go-round of colors that we're going to discuss here. So when you're shopping pre-loved, what you need to do is make sure that you're paying attention to the financial hierarchy of colors, because you're not paying for the cost of producing the color, you're paying for basically how much it's wanted. So a thing on the resale market is only worth as much as people want to pay for it. Equally, something that is very sought after, that is extremely looked for, is going to have a higher price. So when you're buying, say you intend to buy new, then make sure you buy a color that is going to be very much in demand when you try to resell it later on, because if you're doing it as an investment or if your tastes change, it's good to have a color that is going to be in high demand when you try to sell it again. But also, it is if you're buying secondhand, then you need to know that if you're looking for certain colors, they're going to be more expensive than others. So for example, noir, gold, étoupe, craie, nata, those are all neutrals, and they're very sought after. So that is going to command a premium on the resale market. But if you wanted to buy a bright, colorful pop of color, that you could get for a significantly lower price on the resale market, because they're not as popular, and so the prices of those are going to be lower. So if you were to buy a brand new Kelly in the shop, the price of an étoupe one or the price of a bright orange one are going to be the same, but on a resale market, that's not the case. Because you're buying secondhand, you also should try and figure out how to anticipate how certain vintage pigments age over time, because the color evolves, right? And the interaction of the color with the leather means that the color is going to change hue over time. So the color of the bag that you're buying right now may not be the color of the bag as it was when it first came out of the Hermès boutique new. And it's useful to know, because while you own that bag, the hue is going to continue to change. The most critical thing, though, on the resale market is to determine whether your bag is authentic, and sometimes determining when a color became available and what is the make and model of your bag is going to be interesting, because, for example, a counterfeit model might pair a color with a year of production that isn't possible. So you can tell the year of production of the bag with the letter that is stamped into the leather. You can look up when a color came into production, so that you can check if it's possible that this particular bag model was made in this particular color that particular year, and that will give you a good indication of whether it's authentic or fake. There's one last thing you need to know about the resale market, and that is sometimes bags are repainted. So if, for example, somebody has a bag that is red, that is vintage from the 1950s, and that has lots of scuffs and it's a little bit damaged, the color is no longer particularly attractive, sometimes what these people will do is that they will repaint the bag in black, because they know that black is a neutral, black is easier to sell, black retains its value over time. So they might actually paint the bag. So it was originally red, now when you're looking at it on the resale market, it is black. So if that happens, you need to be very careful, because first off, painted bags are worth a lot less. Second, the Hermès Spa does not touch a bag that has been repainted by anyone other than themselves. And third, it damages the leather. So the pieces that have been painted will have a faint chemical smell, a paint odor, and the leather also will become sticky, and it will also feel a bit plasticky and dry. So not a good idea to buy a repainted bag. I would not advise it. And definitely make sure that if you get a bag that you have bought online and it turns out to have been repainted, definitely return that. Do not keep it. It is not going to retain its value. So without further ado, let's look at the discontinued colors. Now let's have a look at the colorful ones. We have abricot, that's apricot, abricot, bougainvillier, bougainvillier, rouge piment, that means chili pepper, rouge piment. Bubblegum pink, which is not in French, so I'm not going to say it again. And this is essentially a hyper vibrant Barbie style pink, and it is legendary in auction houses. It was initially intended as a minor seasonal novelty, but exploded into a pop culture phenomenon, and so now they regularly fetch double their retail value. Then you have Rose Tyrien, Rose Tyrien, which is a neon electric pink with blue undertone. It's based on the color that was used by Roman emperors to denote that they were rich and that they sat at the top of the hierarchical pyramid. Rose pourpre, rose pourpre, so it's a magenta tinted orchid pink. Then you have rose indien, which means Indian rose, rose indien, which is a raspberry pink used usually for exotic skins, and it's you can see it often on alligator skin. Vanille means vanilla, vanille. Limoncello, which is Italian, a type of alcoholic drink, which is citrus yellow. Jaune de Naples, so Naples yellow. Mimosa, mimosa. Jaune citron, so that means lemon yellow. Jaune citron. Vert rousseau, they seem to have a lot of green. Vert d'eau, vert d'eau, that's a seafoam mint, that must be pretty. Vert jade, so that's jade. Then you have the blues, and one that is really famous is bleu jean. So jean is the way we say denim in French. So bleu jean, and it's a casual color that was released in the 90s and early 2000s, and it's essentially a faded denim blue, which is wildly popular, and like I said, tends to turn a little bit murky green over time, so keep that in mind. If you buy it, it will eventually turn a little bit more green than blue. Azur, azur. Bleu Baltique. And there's also another discontinued blue, although it's unclear whether it's discontinued or just rested, and that's Bleu France. Bleu France. So the first one is Gris Tourterelle. Tourterelle is a dove, gris means gray, so Gris Tourterelle. And that is essentially a legendary vintage dove gray with deep, heavy pink and beige undertones, so it's going to have that chameleon effect. And it's highly sought after by collectors and vintage hunters, and it's perfectly complemented by gold hardware usually. Gris Mouette. Gris Mouette is a bird, it's a seagull. Then you have Gris Ciment, which means cement gray. And then Gris Névé. So I repeat that one, Gris Névé. Right, a few more discontinued colors. You have Cassis. Cassis is essentially blackcurrant. If you're into purples, you will want to check out Anémone. Anémone, which means anemone. Anémone. Raisin, which means grapes. Raisin. And ultraviolet. 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 Then you have cyclamen, cyclamen, and that is a type of flower. It's a lavender color, and it acts as a it's highly prized because it acts as an optical illusion, which shifts from a violet purple color to a hot pink depending on the angle of the light. Then you have the color chai, which is not French either, and that's a tea, a type of tea. It was launched as a bridge to bridge the gap between the color which was crêpe, which is a little bit too difficult to keep clean, and the color gold, which some buyers find a little bit too orange. And so chai is meant to bridge that gap between the two. So the next one is a parchemin. Parchemin just means parchment, so a very old type of paper, and it is an off-white with yellow-toned hues, which was retired because it was pretty warm-toned, and so it was difficult to pair with clothes, and so Hermès discontinued it. So, I think we're at the end of the mega long list that I've compiled for you. I tried to be super thorough. I trolled through the entire Hermès website to the point where they said, oh, we have detected like unusual activity. We need to like restrict your access to the website for a minute. I was like, oh no, I hope it's not permanent. But thankfully, a few hours later, it came back. And so anyway, so I really looked at all the colors that I could find on the Hermès website. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if there are any colors that I have missed. I'd be happy to re-record another video where I can put a few extra colors for you, or if there are words that you don't know how to pronounce in the Hermès world, or if there are other brands that you would like me to do this for. Please don't hesitate to leave a comment below so that I will know what would be most helpful to you.